Hello everybody and welcome to another Pretty Good Gaming podcast. This is episode number 73. Hello a croeso I podcast thrif 73. My name is Mr. Gareth Evans and I am joined today by Mr. Henry Giant Nuts Cooper.
I mean, you're going to have to stay tuned to the end of the podcast to find out all about my alleged giant nuts.
Yeah. Well, the reason why we're calling you Giant Nuts, not the actual fact of the matter, right? Although we might well discuss the size of your nuts in due course, but that is not the main topic of today's podcast. It might just happen across our conversation at some point.
You happen across my giant nuts.
Yeah. Okay. So Henry, before we get stuck into the game and stuff, how's your week been? Have you been playing many exciting things? And tell us about it.
I haven't really done much particularly exciting. I finished Ghost of Tsushima last weekend, so the week before the one that's just gone. So I've just been doing cleanup on that. Finished all the side stuff. I platinumed it. And that was really easy. It was just kind of clear the map and you're done. So that was good fun. Picked up Carrion because I was earmarking that for once I'd finished completely with Ghost of Tsushima, so I picked up Carrion on the Switch. Really enjoyed that, and it's really short. It was only like 4 or 5 hours long, and I played it in a few sessions. And it was cheaper. It was like 20 quid, maybe less. I can't really remember. But yeah. I was really happy at how short it was. It was exactly the length it needed to be. And people talk about it all the time. Like, there's so many of these like 100-hour games. Like, yeah, they're great, but sometimes I like just a really short experience.
Yes.
Although part of me hates Carrion because it doesn't have a fucking map. For a game with a bunch of sort of Metroidvania light elements, and if I'm playing it like on and off, I have no idea where I am. So the other day, I think on Tuesday evening, I booted it up, playing handheld, just kicking back on the sofa. It was late at night. I was just trying to wind down. And I spent ages trying to find where the fuck I was supposed to go. And then when I eventually did find where I was supposed to go, I had literally 10 minutes left. I killed a few people and I finished the game. I was like, so I've spent like over an hour just sludging around being this horrific tentacle, Japanese anime monster. And I'm right at the fucking end because I don't have a map and I don't know where I'm going. So that pissed me off a lot. That really did. But other than that, it's a really great game and it's really fun and it's simple in what it is and I had a great time.
Well, that's good. Like I said, I played it week before last now, but yeah, I played it 3 or 4 hours, and it was interesting. It just got me, just piqued my interest, I guess. And I think I maybe pick up a Switch at a point because I was playing it on Game Pass, which was free. I don't really want to pay for it like full price, 20 quid. So I'm probably going to wait for a sale on that. But yeah, that's one. It was a decent game from what I saw.
Yeah, I definitely recommend it. But as I say, it's very simple like progression. You move through this laboratory type facility and then you get a new ability to like grow bigger or send out an extra tentacle or some shit, and then you use that to solve a puzzle and you just eat people. There's very, very, very little story. All it is you're a monster, some that's been discovered somehow, and your job is to escape and presumably go on to terrorize other people if you do make it out. But so
Carrion 2, who knows?
Carrion 2. Carry on.
Carrying on. So myself, I jumped back into Golf Story because I'm just anticipating one of my most anticipated games coming up is Sports Story, which is the sequel to Golf Story. And I played it through originally. What was it? 2017 when the Switch was quite new. So I'm replaying that and having fun with it. I'm using that as my wind down game at the end of the day, which is what the Switch is great for, really. I'm not really played much other than that, but yeah, Golf Story, man, still one of my favorite games. It still holds up to this day. Henry, I know you're not a sporty man. You don't like sport, unless it's Quidditch or whatever.
Sports team. No.
Golf Story, man.
I like
Golf
playing
Story.
sport, but I haven't played
Golf
sport
Story
since I was a young whippersnapper.
You've got a golf story at some point.
It's a hard sell because golf is so relentlessly boring, and you're trying to upsell this game as being really interesting and really fun. I just don't believe it.
The name of the game is golf. However, golf is not the main thrust of the game. It's an RPG at its core, right? You play the plot of this one guy, and he's trying to realize his dream of becoming a professional golfer. Now, he had a dream since a very young age, but life got in the way. He got married and all sorts. So he was with a woman, and now he's like middle-aged. He's approaching middle age.
Destroying your dreams, keeping you down.
And obviously, he's split up from his missus now. And he's like, right, I want to be a golfer again. And it's about his story, right? Your story of traversing, trying to get in with the golfing elite, let's say. And the game's packed full of characters, interesting characters. They're written by, or made by an Australian development studio, which you can obviously assume that there's going to be sense of humor there. The game is chocked with sense of humor. It's not all about golf. Every so often you've got to play the course that you've been milling around, like doing little puzzles and little unlocking things on. You got to play the course to advance the story, but that's it. Like it's not a difficult golf challenge, and a lot of it is like RPG elements. It's not. Henry, you got to try it, man.
I mean,
someday when it's on discount.
You do keep talking about it, and you do keep upselling it, but I've not even seen any gameplay of it because it's such a write-off as golf. So maybe I should have a look, but realistically, I'm probably not going to.
Don't judge a book by its cover.
But I haven't even seen its cover. I'm judging it even before that. But
it's classic game.
Whatever you say.
It's fun. So in today's podcast, let's move on. Obviously, my persuasion attempts has failed there. I must level up my persuasion skills for next time. So we're going to be talking about Spiderman Exclusivity, because this is a story that won't die. There's a lot of people on both sides of this argument, and we've got more to discuss on that because we covered it in a daily triple segment during the week. But we just can't let this go. We will discuss that a little bit. Also, there's a story surrounding Horizon Zero Dawn coming to PC, which is coming tomorrow. But if you're watching us on Sunday, it was released 2 days ago on the PC. But there are issues, and we're going to be discussing that around performance. Then we're going to be taking the Discord questions from the Patreon community. We will be taking a TrIgGeReD Fanboy comment of the week, reading some other YouTube comments or the top YouTube comments from throughout the week, and then finishing up with the bad dad joke of the week. That's the running order. So first up, the Spiderman Exclusivity. So we're exclusive to YouTube, Henry. What's the problem with that? Why should we have to be on all the platforms? Like, yeah, PG everyone on TikTok wants us, Henry, but we're exclusive to YouTube. So why is that a problem?
I mean, to be fair,
you're the Spider-Man of gaming.
The daily triple format could work really well on TikTok, but I can't bring myself to associate my face with that sort of bullshit. TikTok, man. I'm going to try not to rant about it. I've always felt like an old man for like my whole life. My whole life I felt like an old man, kind of being grumpy about shit and just kind of moseying on with my life. But TikTok is one of those things where I really am an old man. I'm just like, what are the young people doing? I don't understand why they don't. I just don't understand TikTok. And there's some people who have made full, multi-million-dollar careers on it that I see coming up on like my Twitter feed from like trending whatever just because they're popular. I'm like, who the fuck are you? You're like 17. You did a little dance, and now you're incredibly famous and making loads of money. I don't understand it. Okay, let me try and kind of rationalize it for you. It's the ADHD generation, right, of kids that are growing up now. They just want bite-sized consumable videos, and that's all TikTok is, right? It's a watch one thing, have a little chuckle for 5 seconds, and then swipe for the next thing. Little chuckle and then swipe again, and then oh my god, my kids I could go on forever about my kids playing the same 5 seconds of music on loop because they're watching this same TikTok over and over again. Yeah, I don't get it either, and I'm even older than you, but you sound very old by talking. It's not quality content, that's the thing. I mean, it's kind of new. It's only been around since like 2017 and only really started taking off in the last like year or so, but like fucking YouTube took a bit of time to find its feet, and then people came out and started making actual content, but nothing I ever see that comes across my way that's been. I don't ever use TikTok. It's normally like shared through onto Twitter or something like that.
Yeah.
Like what do you like about it? This is what I don't get. Like what's the entertainment value of, oh, they're mouthing along to a famous song. Okay, but anyone could do that. I don't know, man.
Yeah,
I don't know. But we're going to move on from fucking TikTok to something else I don't know.
Yeah, that was our TikTok round. Would Spider-Man make a living for himself on TikTok? That's the question, because apparently he's exclusive to PlayStation now, right?
Yeah, so that's the kind of bulk of it. Spider-Man, the most successful, profitable single superhero of all time in terms of like merchandising and brand recognition and all that sort of like marketing type stuff. He is exclusively coming to Marvel's Avengers game on PS4 and 5. They haven't explicitly said PlayStation 4 and 5. All they've said is exclusive to PlayStation, but the game launches on both. It's going to PlayStation 4 when the game comes out on the 4th of September, and then when PS5 launches, it's also going to be on there. And they've got like an upgrade thing. You get it on PS5, you get the free upgrade version on get it on PS4, you get the free version on PS5, which is great. That sounds like a really pro-consumer thing. But then lock in Spider-Man, the most popular superhero of all time, onto a platform is not the most consumer of moves. But a lot of people throwing around words like anti-consumer. But see, this is where it's tricky for like a semantics game. On the whole, on the whole breadth of consumers around the world, for every single person, yes, it is anti-consumer, because it means that all of that significant portion of people, which is 2 out of the 3 platforms it's on, you won't be able to get it. That's anti-consumer. But from PlayStation's perspective, it's very pro-consumer, because the only consumers they care about are their consumers. And you could certainly say that maybe that's the wrong way to look at it morally, but they are a business, right? And this is going to make them money, and it is going to be a success for them. Now, a lot of people are saying, I'm not going to buy it because it's even if I own a PlayStation, I'm not going to buy into this. I'm not going to support this kind of poaching exclusivity, not unlike the Epic Store exclusivity type thing. Totally fine. Totally get that. Support you. But it's not going to hamper their sales one bit because of who it is, because it's Spider-Man. If this was someone else, even another big popular superhero at the moment who's been in the movies, like Ant-Man. Ant-Man's in there already, but he's not a playable character, at least at the moment. He's just like an NPC, I think. Quest giver. So if they did someone like him, and then people were like, well, no, I'm not buying it because you've put him exclusive in one thing, that would be more of a problem. But this is Spider-Man. Spider-Man who does whatever a spider can, or whatever Sony lets him, which is a comment I've said a few times.
That's true.
So it's tricky. I'm hesitant to call it out and out anti-consumer, because in a way it's not. It's certainly not pro-consumer, it's pro-Sony consumer, and that's what they want, and that's their business model, and kind of always has been, especially for this generation, where they've developed really a strong portfolio of exclusive content that you can only get on PlayStation. But the problem here is that it's not just one game. If this was a one-game thing, just the Marvel's Avengers only coming to PlayStation, not totally fine, because it's like, oh yeah, that's still a bit shit, because it means other platforms can't get it, but understandable, you know? But putting Spider-Man in the PlayStation game means that everyone on Xbox and PC who wants it literally gets less of a game, literally gets less of a product for the exact same price. And there's 6 characters at launch. Captain America, Iron Man, Hulk, Thor, Ms. Marvel, and Black Widow. And then Hawkeye's coming later down the line as DLC. Then Spider-Man's coming after that. So that's 8 characters in total. So you're literally getting 1/8 less if you play it on PC or Xbox, and that is bad. Yeah. That's bullshit.
I mean, let's kind of frame this argument a little bit better for people who might not understand this argument, because it's a discussion around exclusivity, which a lot of people conflate with platform exclusivity, like a game like Spider-Man itself, which is the Spider-Man game, which is a PlayStation exclusive game, right? Now this isn't a platform exclusive game. This isn't a Sony held IP. This is a third party.
Sony didn't pay for this game to be made. They paid to have the character.
So it's a different ball game to that, which some people are confusing it with, because and neither do Sony own Spider-Man. It's a Marvel property, right?
Yeah, loads of people get that confused because Sony, as a company, but specifically the film division, they own the film publishing rights and licensing, or whatever semantic word you want to use, but they do not own the IP in total. You know, they don't own the game portion. Marvel own the game portion because Marvel have their own dedicated games arm now, just called Marvel Games. They still own it. They're just like sub-licensing it to Sony to do the Spider-Man PS4 game, and now they've subbed it to Square Enix to do the Avengers game, and now Square have gone and done their own deal with Sony.
So it's not a question of this is exclusive because Sony have funded it. That's not the case at all. A third-party, independent developer. The game's come to all platforms, but Sony have paid a premium, or some sort of deal has gone on behind the scenes to have, like you said, one character exclusive to that platform, and so that everybody else on all the other platforms are paying more money per character, essentially. So, you know, that is an important distinction to make. It's not the same as an exclusive game being made, which, you know, you can argue that it's a necessity in some ways, otherwise some games wouldn't get funded. The other distinction to make is that we are not Xbones or whatever you call them, Xbox fanboys. We both own PlayStations. We both support
I got
PlayStation.
accused of that a couple of times, I think, and I'm like, you can't fucking win with the internet. For other news at 11, you know, but the amount of times we'll get shouted at for being an Xbot or a Sony pony because you say one thing or another. Like, you were quite keen on the Xbox showcase thing last week, but even in that video, I'm like, I totally wasn't, because I thought it was really pointless. I don't know, man.
Yeah, we're quite balanced. I mean, we balance each other out, and we also balance ourselves out a lot. I mean, we never commit fully to one company over another and just outright just support them for no reason. If they do something bad, we call them out. We're both Sony fans. I'm an Xbox fan. I'm a PC fan as well. But it doesn't mean that we shouldn't call out what we don't like. I saw a lot of comments saying, "No, just move on with your lives. It's not even that important." But if it's important to us, it's important to a lot of people, then we should voice our opinion, and that's what a part of what the freedom of speech is, right? If they don't understand that we're upset about this, how can they temper their behaviour in future, or even consider making the right decision in future, in our eyes, by not doing this? Because all they're doing is they're paying for this exclusive content, and the people on Xbox and people on PC are bearing the brunt of that. And we don't like that, and we just want to make our voices heard, essentially.
Yeah, and I think some people are saying like, if you're a Sony fanboy, you're happy about this, and if you're an Xbox fanboy, you're not. But it's really nothing to do with that. From my perspective, and I'm sure at least one other person on the planet shares it. It's because it's Spider-Man as such an important, significant character. Like I said, if it was Ant-Man or even someone like no one really cares about, the hullabaloo and hoo-ha, big shouting, throwing your toys out the pram thing wouldn't happen. But it's because it's same. If you took a DC version of this game with heroes like Superman and Wonder Woman and stuff, if you then took out Batman and put him exclusive to one platform, it'd be the same sort of thing. Or any important single member of a wider team. Like what's a cool thing recently? But like Stranger Things. When Stranger Things came out, that was the hot topic. If you took Will, Lucas, and Dustin and 11 all across all platforms, but then only one platform got Mike, like you're missing part of the brand, you know. And some people will be like, "Oh, Spider-Man's not even an Avenger," but it's like, who? All right, now you're just trying to make a fucking argument which doesn't even need to be made, because he's a Marvel property. If you think of Marvel, chances are you're probably going to think of Spider-Man. Maybe not so much anymore because of the MCU movies, but I just think it's dirty. And it
encourages bad behaviour.
Yeah,
it encourages bad behaviour, and the only people that are are winning are the corporations, right? Sony and
corporations who don't care about you. We're talking about pro-consumer and anti-consumer, and I even touched on it in the video about Microsoft being more pro-consumer. They still don't care. There's still a mega corporation who care about you if you can buy money. Like, if there's a cynical way of looking at it, but the Xbox Adaptive Controller, it's amazing. It helps disabled people play. But they make a lot of money from it, you know?
And the more that this happens, the more that it gets encouraged in future. It's seen as a win for Sony and a win for Marvel or whatever. Square Enix in it, right? It's seen as a win for them because more people, PlayStation increases sales or whatever. So looking at this as another company considering this in future, it's like, yeah, we can just cut our assets in half, exclusivity on each of the platforms, and then people with both consoles who want to experience everything might have to buy 2 versions to experience the whole game. And I think that it's a very disturbing precedent to you might call it a slippery slope argument, saying, oh, that's never going to happen because it's only just one character here. But what this does is it encourages this type of behavior in future, and who knows where this goes down to, because we've seen the greed of gaming companies in the past, with the loot boxes and all monetization and all that bullshit. If it's available to them, if they can do it, if they can try and rip people off like this, they will try it.
Yeah.
So let's not give them any encouragement to do that, and let's voice our opinions and tell them that this isn't right and we don't like it.
I think Sony's getting a lot of heat from this because he's joined their platform and they're the ones who have put down the money. But Square Enix need to be taking a decent bit of heat from this as well, because they allowed it to happen, and they've got a reputation for having dodgy, monetization stuff, but not just in-game microtransactions type shit, but like with I think pre-order tiers for Deus Ex Mankind Divided, you could augment your pre-order, so you pay more and get like more of the game. I can't really quite remember how it works, but the more
people that pre-ordered, it added more to the pre-order or something. So it encouraged people to pre-order.
Like a team effort type thing. So they've got history with this, and they've got history with being more favorable to Sony than any other platform, because of the most recent example is like Final Fantasy VII Remake. It's not a Sony published game. They've just got exclusivity. I think it's only timed for that. I think it's meant to be coming to other stuff like next year or something. But so it's a similar sort of situation where Sony's thrown their big wallet down, and Square have just been like, yep, we'll have some of that and take it to the bank. And I brought up the example in the video of Soul Calibur, who's done the same sort of thing for a while. Well, a few times in the past. I don't think they really do it that much anymore. But in Soul Calibur 2, across GameCube, PlayStation, and Xbox, you each got your own character. And even then, it was looking at it now, it's still a bit fishy, but I wasn't really aware back then. I only had one version, and I assumed that was the only version. We had the GameCube version, so it was, cool, plays Link. That's pretty cool. But the thing is, with that, Nintendo own Link, so Nintendo, I'm like, well, why not put him in that game? Because why would they put him in the PlayStation game? They're not going to do that. That's their thing. So the only way for this case to be the same would be if in the PlayStation version of Marvel's Avengers, the PlayStation players got Kratos or Ellie or Nathan Drake, or Aloy, like any of those characters, and then the Xbox version, they could get Master Chief or Marcus Phoenix, or they have nothing else. A Forza car. You can get a Forza
Crackdown
car.
guy.
Crackdown man. Terry Crews. And so this is kind of... I've got a comment which I was going to say for later, but it fits in quite nicely now. And this is kind of about that. Because with Soul Calibur, the Xbox character was Spawn. And that's the same kind of thing, because the Xbox doesn't own Spawn, so they shouldn't have had him. And this person said, Spawn is not a Microsoft character. You mentioned it was fair for Nintendo because Link is a Nintendo character. Who cares? Sony owns Spider-Man, dude. Stop pushing gamer rage. There's a lot of stuff going on there, and it's not a very well-made argument. There's like 4 separate points. Spawn is not a Microsoft character. You're right, but I never said it was okay for them to do it, and that's because it's not. It's okay for Nintendo to do it because they own it. Well, even then, okay is still a bit, it's still a bit tenuous, but it's understandable and digestible. You can kind of be like, okay, I've got a PlayStation. Fair enough, I can't get Link because He's absolutely nothing to do with PlayStation or Sony whatsoever. Get that. You mentioned it was fair for Nintendo because Link is a Nintendo character. Yeah, so I'm just reiterating my point. Who cares? Sony owns Spider-Man. No, they don't.
We've been through that, right?
So I can't stress this enough. A lot of people in the comments were saying the same thing. They don't own him. A lot of people were saying, who cares? They can do what they want. They do own him. They don't. They don't own him. They own the film rights, and even then, that's still complicated because they collaborate with Marvel and Disney, so that's huge and then all over the place. Stop pushing gamer rage. If I wanted to push gamer rage, it would be clickbaited to fuck. I got a little bit of criticism for saying Spider-Man was stolen by Sony, but I think that's a fair comment because they did steal him. Because, I mean, I don't know for sure, obviously, and this is it's a bit clickbait. I'm not saying it's not, but I still think it's fair because Sony don't own him, so the like base kind of setting would be, you would think, that Spider-Man's just going to join everyone because he's nothing to do with Sony. Sony don't own him. They've made their own game with Insomniac, a studio they own, and that is separate from this Avengers game. They are completely separate versions of Spider-Man. Nothing to do with Sony.
Yeah. But
now they have him. So to me, that's stealing him. And that is working on the assumption that Spider-Man was going to be with everyone all along. But
I mean, I don't get his pushing gamer range argument because that's the antithesis of what we do, because we pretty much reason out everything that we do. Gamer rage is generated by hyperbolic statements made by people who overgeneralize and do it for the clicks on YouTube. We don't do that, right?
Which is what we're accused of by another commenter who said, it's a slow news day, they need the clicks, so Sony bad for basically doing what all the other platforms do. Okay, it's been a slow news day for like 6 fucking months, right? So that's nothing new. I will take that. It's not doing it for clicks. It's doing it because it's an interesting story. It's a game
It's something that we feel strongly about, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It was not done because we think that people will click this. It's done because it's something that we care about, which is different to a lot of YouTubers out there.
And Sony bad for basically doing what all other platform holders do. No. It's not the same. It's like a multi-platform any game. What's one that's coming up? Cyberpunk, right? Biggest game in the fucking world right now. It's probably gonna win a bunch of awards, even if it's shit. Which it could well be. It's probably still gonna win a bunch of awards. If for PlayStation you get an exclusive character like fucking what's the guy, Keanu Reeves' character, what's his name? Johnny
Silverhand.
That's it, Johnny Silver. If he was exclusive to the PlayStation version or the Xbox version or something, that would be bullshit because they don't own it. If there's a Sony branded fucking robot or something in the PlayStation version, which they own and they paid for to like have build the assets and then send it to them, all right, that's more reasonable. But you can't, well they can, but you shouldn't just pull out part of a game, stick it on another platform, and then the other platforms objectively get less. And people throw around the word objectively a lot. But factually, you do get less of a game if you buy it on Xbox or PC.
Absolutely. And then again, this is just our opinion. We are making very, very reasoned arguments why we feel and think the way we do. We're not spouting rage. We're not spouting hyperbole here. We're just saying this is how it is. This is why it's bad. And, that's what we do here. So if you do disagree, you're totally entitled to. You can leave your comments down in the
Please do.
In the comment section. But if you do, remember that we are going to critique your comments, and if you're full of shit, you're probably going to hear about it.
That's it, man. Well, the thing is, right, so if this is such a problem for you, you're not going to buy the game, as I said before and said in the video, absolutely, all power to you, make that decision. I'm still not even certain if I'm going to buy it at all yet. I said in the last podcast that I can see something, I can see a potential for like multiplayer group play with your friends, tag teaming with different powers and stuff. I can visualize that. So with the betas, because there's three separate beta sessions coming out. I'm going to play it when it's the open beta, so these betas are already fucking stupid and for the pre-order bollocks. So the first one, well, you could technically say the first session of all of them, because I mean this early access shit it's bollocks. This should just be the day for everyone, but it's a pre-order incentive. So the first one, and my camera has stopped working just about, there we go. So the first one is the 7th to the 9th of August. That's this weekend. You'll be listening to this during the beta, perhaps.
Yeah.
So that's the first one. Then there's the open beta for PS4 plus all of the Xbox and PC pre-orders, which is the 14th to the 16th. So that's everyone on PS4 and only the pre-orders on Xbox and PC. So that if you pre-order on Xbox and PC, you still get less of a... You don't get it as early, although arguably I'd say you probably get the better experience because you get a more full lobby of players. And then the fully open beta for absolutely everyone is on the 21st to the 23rd. So I'm planning to jump into the PS4 beta. I haven't pre-ordered it or anything, so I won't be playing this weekend. So it's a free beta. You'll probably have to, agree to some terms and conditions of bullshit. So you might have to sell a kidney to get into this thing. We know how these corporations like to word this shit. Well, I'm probably going to jump in and try it out just to see. Hopefully I can get a couple of my mates to get involved as well to see if it is any fun or anything. But there is still that Spider-Man thing looming over. I'm like, it sucks.
It just sours the water, doesn't it?
It does. And this game's already in such a sort of tenuous place because the marketing's been kind of shit. No one really speaks fondly of games as a service. Even people who like the games as a service games, like Destiny, it's got a huge fan base, or even like Fortnite or Call of Duty Warzone is still doing really well. Apex Legends, all those are games as a service. No one really is that crazy about games as a service as like an idea. But those games are all doing really, really well. A lot of the fan base likes them, at least likes them enough to keep playing. So there is potential for it to find its spot in the market. And I've read a few previews because some people have had like an early pre-order beta access type thing, just been supply codes and whatnot. And some of the previews have been kind of mixed to positive, which is kind of it's better than it could be. And I think a lot of them have said it's better than I thought it was, but it's not amazing,
Yeah.
I think I read the Forbes guy Paul Tassi, who I kind of regret following him on Twitter because all that comes up is Destiny shit, and I'm like, I don't
he's a big
care.
MMO player. Yeah.
But every now and then there'll be an actual news story because Forbes sometimes do some pretty good stuff. So his eventually came up, and as a loot shooter fan, he plays all of them and has a dedicated segment on Destiny. So he's like all about that shit. He says the loot in it and the loot grind and stuff is quite good. So from someone who likes that sort of shit to praise it, I'm like, okay, well that's quite a good sign. But general criticisms are like, yeah, some of the levels are really samey. The heroes feel good, but the levels aren't so great. And you're kind of doing the same shit kind of over and over again. But then I'm like, well, you kind of do that in every loot game, every loot shooter, loot grindy thing. So that's not even so much of an issue. But all in all, man, I just don't know about this game.
No, it's going to be one. I mean, the expectations are so high is the problem. I think it's one of the biggest most recognizable IPs. Marvel Avengers, like Marvel. One of the biggest things that people recognize through the movies and the how well that they've done. So people don't know what to expect. Like, when was the last Marvel game? I mean, Square Enix are making it. We don't know what to expect, and we are going to have to wait till the people get hands-on with the beta to know what actual real human beings think about it. Because there'll always be a spectrum of people playing it. Your loot shooter fans, or your people who couldn't give two shits about the IP, and then you'll see where you fit in that those demographics, see whether it appeals to you. And I'm of the mind that this isn't really going to appeal to me at all. I'm not a big superhero fan, and it just looks like they try to make a movie out of these big shiny colors characters. It's all very cinematic, and it looks great, but it's not the kind of thing I look for in a game.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, it does look like it's ripping out features from like every looty game, like your Destinies and your Anthems and all that, and it does look super generic and like cookie cutter. But like I said, if it is what I hope it is, and this good kind of social experience with like co-oping with your friends, because it seems there's a lot of emphasis on co-op, but you can play it on your own. You can play it with AI teammates who have the same gear that you've been equipping, so you can spec them the way you want, which is a good way to do it. but again, that's taken some criticism in terms of being able to command them, because the AI companions don't focus on objectives; they'll just kill shit. So that leaves a lot of the work for you. So that's a bit of a up in the air thing. But if it's what I hope it is, then it could be really, really fun, despite it being really generic and really kind of not doing anything particularly new or interesting. I'm fine for it to be superheroes with rolling objectives and daily challenges and cool cosmetic shit. If it plays well, which it seems to. People say the characters feel cool, so if it can do what I want it to do, and that's it, like it doesn't need to exceed anything, doesn't need to do anything groundbreaking, then I think I'll be alright with it. I'm
sure it will find its fan base, that's for sure. But we will have to wait and see for those betas. If you are going to play the betas, let us know down in the comments what you're expecting from the game, and let us know your thoughts as well later down the line once you've played it, because we are interested in how people think about it. But let's move on now to a game that we are all decided that is definitely a good game, Horizon Zero Dawn. However, it's coming to PC tomorrow. As of time recording, because we're recording this on Thursday the 6th, it's releasing on the 7th on PC. You're watching this on the 9th if you're watching on YouTube. If you are, is it the 9th? Yeah. If you're watching early access via the Patreon page, then you'll be watching this on the day of release, which is because patrons get 2 days early access to this podcast. If you're interested, by the way, patreon.com/prettygoodgaming. Throw my first plug of the link in there for now. There'll be a few more before the end of this podcast. So what do we know about this version? Well, Ars Technica have had their hands on a preview of the game, and they say that there are some issues with the performance, which is interesting. Obviously, this is a console port from the PS4 version, which was released in 2017. And bugs and poor performance are expected in the preview build, and they were expected to be patched before launch in the day one patch. But the day one patch arrived for them, and they've tested it since, and apparently there are still some glaring issues. And I'm just going to read them out. So, serious performance woes on my high-end rig was the titled segment. So he was running a rig with an i7 8700K CPU overclocked to 4.8 gigahertz. He's running an overclocked RTX 2080 Ti GPU, which is an absolute beast. 32 gigabytes of DDR4, 3000 RAM, and NVMe SSD. High-end, all high-end. Apparently, this rig can only achieve 4K 60 FPS at 60% of 4K resolution. That means that the game is automatically upscaling, upscaling to 4K, having cut the pixels down to roughly 60%. And that isn't even on maximum settings. That is on high settings. This is pretty much one of the highest spec'd PCs that you could even think about owning as a consumer level. You know, you'd be forking out thousands for a rig like this, but you still couldn't get native 4K 60 FPS on not even on high settings. This is on max. So that's definitely an issue in terms of optimization. I'll just run through the other issues. So there's serious issues on a medium spec laptop. So this is a 2018 HP Omen 15 with an i7 8750H CPU, a GTX 1070 Max Q, and on this rig, 60 FPS is difficult to achieve, in quotes, with all graphics and settings turned down to original, meaning roughly medium. And the average frame rate they're getting at on a 1080p screen is 48 frames per second. There's also some issues with, quote, something seemingly broken about CPU optimization, which leads to some serious frame time spikes and audio stuttering. And this kind of frame time spiking happened on my high-end rig, as well as if the automatic frame rate setting wasn't enabled. So it happens on the high-end rig as well. Spikes are the worst when it comes to, and it just oozes poor optimization, essentially. Other issues noted that there are anisotropic filtering glitch. How do you say that? Anisotropic. I I can't even say that. There's a glitch which apparently it can break that setting if you play around with the settings, and then it requires a reboot of your machine in order to turn the settings back on, the anisotropic filtering, something like that. There's also some jankiness with facial animations and eye blinks, sometimes locked to 30 FPS, which is what they were on console, and they haven't done it to 60 FPS or more, because obviously this is a console port. So we're seeing the issues arise now. Now, obviously, this is still prior to launch. However, like I said, this has already been day one patched according to Ars Technica. We only have to wait. We'll have to wait and see. And an interesting note is that this is run on the same engine, which is the Decima engine, as Death Stranding, which was in the same boat. It was a PS4 exclusive and got ported over to PC. However, that game didn't have such issues as, in my knowledge anyway. Death Stranding run pretty damn well from what I heard. So questions arise whether PC games are going to get the rough end of the stick, whether they've done a good enough job with this port, because Horizon Zero Dawn, a lot of people are going to be jumping onto this, and it's questionable.
Yeah, the thing that strikes me the most is the bit we just went through about the janky facial animations, because that was one of the biggest sort of downsides of the game when it came out. And even then, it's just a little bit of jank on the faces. Like, it's not it doesn't totally break the game or anything like that, but in comparison to how great everything looks, it's a stunning game in terms of style and like high graphical fidelity and everything looking like photoreal and whatnot. Then to look at the faces, which are like kind of robotic, and then they'll say what they're saying and then just snap to like a neutral face once they're done. Seeing that that's still a problem on PC, which is only going to make it more obvious, as everything is going to look even better.
It's going to stand out,
It's going to be even more of a kind of bugbear.
There are parallels with Red Dead Redemption 2 here. When that arrived on the PC, people were saying that you can't achieve 60 FPS 4K on ultra high settings or whatever. This game just looks beautiful as it is. The game is so advanced, the technology has to catch up with it in order to run it. Maybe it's the same situation here. This is a wonderful world in Horizon Zero Dawn. Even the PS4 version looks stunning, right? And it won't be so much of a problem if this is how they've made it, so that it is future-proof. So in 5 or so years, it's still going to hold up as one of the best-looking games on the PC platform. So that's a little bit of leeway there given to how this performs right now, not achieving 4K 60 FPS natively on high settings on that beast of a rig. However, the spikes and the spikes and the freezes, that's not good at all. That's just poor optimization. And there's, I don't know, maybe it's just maybe it's just the Intel processors that happens on, because they're both Intels on these rig. Maybe you won't find that on a non-Intel thing. Maybe this guy was just unlucky with these two rigs, because your rig might work out just fine. So just a little word of warning here for people who are thinking of picking it up is, there might be issues here. Bonus though is that if you pick up on Steam, then you can just refund it if it doesn't work well, because Steam's refund policy is awesome. So you can play it within 2 hours of playing. If you've realised that if it runs like a bag of crap on your system, just refund it and all's good. So it's a nice little safety net there for you.
Well, I think what is interesting is, as you pointed out, how well Death Stranding has done on PC. It's getting glowing reviews. I think it's leveled out at like 88, 89, something like on Metacritic. Everyone loving it on like a technical level. All of the issues are the same as the ones that were in the console version. I think it's interesting that one's doing so well and running on the same engine, so all the same tools and bits and bobs. But then Horizon's having such a hard time. So I was just trying to find out who did the port, whether it was Guerrilla or somebody else. And I couldn't see that it was anyone else, so I'm assuming it is Guerrilla. So maybe it's not so much the game, but the quality of the work of the people who are trying to port it, if that makes sense. I've not really worded that very well. Yeah. So maybe it's not the engine that's the problem, it's the people who are handling it. Yeah. If Kojima Productions has handled Death Stranding doing it so well. Again, I'm not sure if they did the port for that, so I don't have it in front of me. Maybe I'm wrong. I just think it's interesting that Death Stranding's done such a good job, but Horizon hasn't.
Well, yeah, I think what this does highlight how well Death Stranding was ported. I mean, if we're assuming that all these problems carry through to the release version, that is. So good job, Kojima Productions, and unlucky Guerrilla try harder, isn't it?
Yeah, do better. Don't be sorry, do better.
B-. But
the thing is, and it's not an excuse, but hopefully these sorts of issues over time will be fixed. It's shit that they are like this now, assuming that they aren't going to be fixed by launch, but I think you said that the day one patch has been and gone, and it's not really fixed much. But even if it sucks now, you can just leave it for now and come back to it later. Just don't buy it now and wait and watch some people doing playthroughs and see their performances, and if it gets to a standard which you can accept, buy it then. And I think that's the problem a lot of people have, is you have to buy it right now. Like, you have to be there day one. But the thing is, you don't really, and this game's already coming out late. It's Horizon came out in 2017, so you're already late to the conversation, so you're not going to miss out on being included or part of it, you know? So for this one, I'd definitely say just wait. Just wait.
Absolutely. I think the main problem with developing on PC is that there's so many combinations of processed GPUs and other specs on your PC that they can't QC, quality check or quality assure every single person's setup. They just cannot. Yeah. They can do the most likely ones, the most likely or the most popular GPUs, most popular processors, and just make sure that them run all right. So it is another bunch of balls to juggle in development game, essentially. That's why it's always a problem for these developers, especially coming from PS4, where you've got maybe two versions, the PS4 base and the PS4 Pro to develop for. But
it's interesting that these two games are the two big tentpole PS4 exclusives. At least they were. They're obviously not anymore now. They're on PC. So, but Guerrilla Games make Horizon. They are a Sony-owned studio. Kojima Productions isn't. They're not owned by Sony. They just work together to publish Death Stranding, and that's why the exclusivity's there. And because Sony is making moves into PC these days, there certainly is a possibility that Spider-Man will make it over to PC, and hopefully then to Xbox with Marvel's Avengers, not necessarily the Spider-Man PS4 game. I mean, that's certainly possible too. But I think Spider-Man's presence in the Avengers, they're going to be getting a lot of heat for this, and they don't stand to gain anything by putting this character on other platforms. But given that they have been making moves into PC, it's more likely than it would be maybe like last year or a couple years ago. I don't know.
Yeah. But there you go. That is the warning, I guess, for Horizon Zero Dawn. And with that, we shall move on to the next segment, which is the community segment. This is sponsored by, everything on this channel is sponsored by our Patreon community, patreon.com/prettygoodgaming. And one of the rewards for being a supporter is asking us questions on this podcast every single week, and access to our Discord, as well as early access to this podcast. So if you are interested in those rewards, go and check them out. Like I said, patreon.com/prettygoodgaming. And we've had one sign up in this last week, Sora Cerberus, who pledged $10. 10 whole bucks. My God, you get a special salute for that one, sir. We really appreciate it. Every single dollar helps us out, because without the patronage, we wouldn't be able to afford to keep generating content on YouTube, because YouTube pays us pittance, absolute pittance. That is a fact, right? So we are eternally grateful for everyone who does take the decision to support us on Patreon and on YouTube memberships now too. You can click the join button down there if you're watching on YouTube. It all goes to the same place. We really appreciate everybody who signs up. So like I said, part of the reward is to ask questions every single week on the podcast. We normally do the quiz first. Should we do the quiz first, Henry? We've got a head-to-head quiz. We have a head-to-head quiz.
Metalshark, being the saint that he is, has been regularly supplying us these quizzes for pretty much all of lockdown, it seems. I don't think it's quite that long, but it's been going on for a long time, and they're always excellent and always fucking hard.
Yeah.
So
well, this is a head-to-head this week, isn't it? So
yeah, because last week you did a piss-poor job of naming video game dogs, which, to be fair, was probably the most challenging.
I'll accept that
run. Yeah,
it was dog piss poor, you could say. So Metashark
certainly not the dog's bollocks.
No, it certainly wasn't. Not the giant. What was it? Giant nuts Cooper.
Giant hairy nuts, something. Yeah.
So this week's head-to-head. This is Metashark's words. We'll look at record speed run times, which I really have no knowledge about at all. Yeah. Lowest score has the quiz next week, and EA rules if it's a draw. Rock, paper, scissors. Okay, how are we going to do that with internet lag? I don't know. But
oh no, I froze. Sorry.
Froze just as you wrote. So, for each game, you have to guess if the fastest possible speedrun was shorter or longer than the previous title. To start off, we have Breath of the Wild, which was completed in 26 minutes and 54 seconds. How the hell? 6 minutes and 54 seconds. I wasn't off the top island bit by then. Still walking around trying to find a weapon that wouldn't smash every 2 seconds. Okay, so we start with Breath of the Wild, 26 minutes, 54 seconds. And the first question is, has Dark Souls been completed faster than Breath of the Wild? Yes or no? 26 minutes, 54. Dark Souls.
I mean, the Dark Souls speedruns, I mean, I'm not a big... I haven't played Dark Souls, so I can't really know, but I watched a bit of a Bloodborne speedrun, and it was like half an hour, and it was ridiculous. But there was a lot of like clipping through walls and stuff, whereas with... So like breaking the game and what I would call cheating for a speedrun.
Exploiting.
I mean, you've got to say, was it a speedrun or was it a glitchless speedrun? Because that's, it's
an important distinction, yeah.
Yeah. But with Zelda, you can, well, as soon as you get off the first area of the island, you can just go straight to the final area without spoiling it and do the thing. Chances are you'll probably die because the point is you go off and you get stronger and you do this, that, and the other. But you can do it. And evidently it's possible. So I reckon Dark Souls was completed faster because people are bullshitting and clipping through walls and glitching and shit.
Okay, but I'm going to agree it's going to be faster. However, before we move on and do the answer, right, we need to alternate our answers, right? So you answer first this time, I'll answer first next time, just so we can't just follow each other to the win, like might have happened last time. Okay, Dark Souls has been completed faster than Breath of the Wild. We both agree that it has been faster. Let's check. Yes, it has, and the answer is 18 minutes and 27 seconds. Dark Souls has been completed at. So that's pretty damn fast. Do you want to read the next one?
Okay, next up, has Resident Evil 2, the 2019 remake, been completed faster than Dark Souls? Resi 2 versus Dark Souls.
I'm going to say, because of my knowledge of Resident Evil 2 games, locked animations and animation cycles, because of the way that Capcom can do that, I'd say no. Because there's a lot of time where I'm just frustrated, like, come on, let's just get... No, I'm going to say no for that reason. That's my guess.
That's quite a good reason, but I think I'm going to go Resident Evil 2 because the games are built quite short anyway. You can beat... The average playtime, I think, for one run is like 5 hours or something, maybe. I can't really remember. And Resident Evil, even back then, back in when the first few were coming out, they had kind of a devout speedrunning community. And I think a lot of that's carried over. So I'll go different. I'll say Resident Evil 2.
The answer is no. The record is at 46-44. Gaz wins. So I've got 2. You've got 1.
Yeah.
So you're answering first next. And question number 3 is, has Titanfall 2 been completed faster than Resident Evil 2, which is 46 minutes, 44 seconds?
So Titanfall 2, again, it's quite short. I've only played it once and it was really good, but I don't really remember any particular like long sections which you'd be like tied into. So I guess you can just blitz past. But is it faster than 46 minutes and 44 seconds? That's the question. I reckon it probably is. I reckon it's probably faster. Titanfall 2.
I agree with Titanfall 2 being faster because Resident Evil 2 46 minutes is a slow speed. And Titanfall, I've never played Titanfall 2, but from what I understand, the campaign isn't massive. So I'm sure there's a few glitches in there. So I'm going to go Titanfall 2 is faster.
No, the record is at 54 minutes and 44 seconds.
Wow.
So that's exactly, 8 minutes faster?
Yeah, there's a turn up for the books there. So I'm on 2, you're on 1. And let's move on to question number 4, which you're going to read.
Has Half-Life been completed faster than Titanfall 2?
I'm going to say yes, because 54 minutes is a lot of time. And Half-Life must have some glitches. It's pretty old. People must have... Half-Life is a classic as well. It's one of those games that people just play and play and play and play. So I'm going to say yes, Half-Life has been completed faster than Titanfall 2.
Yeah, I agree. Half-Life, especially because it's a big, it's a PC game, from right when PC games were really kicking off and proving that all other platforms were a waste of time. So I feel like more people are going to know the ins and outs and technical glitches and that sort of shit. So yeah, I'm going to go Half-Life.
And yes, it has 24 minutes 19 seconds, which puts me on 3, you on 2.
Yeah.
And the next question is read by me, answered by you first, and it goes like this: has Celeste been completed faster than Half-Life, which was 24 minutes 19 seconds? Celeste.
So I've not played Celeste, but I know it's meant to be one of these where you die quite a lot, but it's got really good difficulty options. So I reckon if you just added everything to make it easier, you could probably smash through it really quick. And it's an indie game, so often they're quite smaller than a more AAA. Even though Half-Life, that was kind of, would you call Half-Life a AAA game? Because it's kind of before that terminology was really thrown around and the boundaries were a bit more blurred. I don't know. I reckon Celeste is probably quicker than 24 minutes.
I'm going to go... I've played Celeste, and I know how infuriating it can be, but I did enjoy it. Celeste, I'm going to say yes, it is... it hasn't... Sorry, Celeste is longer. So Half-Life... Has Celeste been completed faster? No. I think that Celeste takes longer than 24 minutes, 19 seconds. So I'm going to go the opposite of you. And the answer is no. The record is 26:57. Oh, my instincts were bang on there. Yep. I've taken a 2-point lead, man. That is awesome. 4 for me, 2 for you. And
in my defense, I have not played Celeste.
It was close.
I played a little bit of Half-Life, but I don't think I ever finished it.
It's only a minute and a half difference.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a pretty decent sized game for an indie, and it's so rock solid. You've got to get every single move right at some points. I can't see it being done that quick. That's why I said no. So yeah, we're on question 6. You to read, me to answer. Yes. 4 to me, 2 to you.
Has Doom Eternal been completed faster than Celeste? So Doom Eternal versus Celeste.
Well, this is where the tables are flipped now, because you've played this and I haven't. I would say... This is hard. I'm going to say, has it been completed faster? I'm going to say no, it hasn't been, because I think it's a relatively new game, and I think the more time goes on, the quicker people do it. And so at this point in time, I think no, it hasn't been completed faster than Celeste.
See, I almost have an advantage, but because my brain's stupid, I don't. So because I know there's I think IGN might have done it. Devs react to Doom Eternal speedrun. I didn't watch the whole thing. I watched the first, I saw the time count and then the first few minutes, and then I switched off. But it was some of the devs being like, "Oh yeah, he's gonna do this. That's really cool." And then they were like, "Oh no, but he's clipping through the walls and cheating and doing load screen exploits and shit." But annoyingly, I can't remember how long it was, or more importantly, whether it was longer or slower than 26 minutes.
Bethesda game, so glitches abound.
I was going to say, you can easily just
clip to the very end.
Yeah.
Easily done in a Bethesda game.
Yeah, I'll say Doom Eternal was done in less than 26 minutes.
Oh, you take this one. It's been done in 20 minutes and 33 seconds.
Yes.
So that puts me still on 4, but you up to 3 now.
And that works nicely for an IGN type thumbnail. Devs react to a 20-minute Doom Eternal speedrun. See, it's nice.
Well, there you go. You literally cheated on that one by having seen the video, but I'm not gonna dwell on that too much. Let's move on to the next one. You're answering first. Has Cuphead been completed faster than Doom Eternal at 20 minutes 33 seconds?
Now, I've not played Cuphead because it's meant to be hard as fuck, and I'm like, I don't need that kind of stress in my life. But it always gets me because I'm like, oh, I love the art, I love the animation, it's really cute, but it's fucking really, really difficult. Has it been done quicker than 20 minutes? You'd have to be really good, like, and know absolutely everything. But 20 minutes is really quick. I'm going to say Doom is faster. I'm going to stick with Doom.
You're going to say no. I'm going to say no too, because Cuphead's one of those games we can't really glitch to the end. And the bosses' fights themselves might take a while. So I'm going to say it's more. So no, it's more than 20 minutes 33. And the answer is no, it is 23 minutes and 16. So we both got that one correct. I'm up to 5. You're up to 4. There's 3 questions left, and you're to read.
Has Carrion been completed faster than Cuphead?
Interesting. 23 minutes, 16 seconds. So it's me to answer. I'm going to say, has Carrion been completed faster than Cuphead? It's a relatively new game. I'm not sure whether you can glitch through it. There are periods in the game which I've played, which you just have to... I'm not going to spoil it for anyone, but it takes time to traverse. I'm going to say no, Carrion has not been completed faster than Cuphead. Even though it's only a 4-hour game. Yeah,
I think I'm going to go with Carrion is faster, because I think it's very short, but also there's a lot of rooms where you don't... The kind of like objective in there is just kill everyone, but you can just go past. There are some where you have to kill like a security drone or some shit to then open the door. But a lot of stuff, I think you can just zip past, and if you don't get hit, you'll be all right. You'd have to avoid getting certain upgrades. Some stuff you have. Yeah, I'll go Carrion is faster than Cuphead.
Oh, yes, it has. 21 minutes, 19 seconds. Oh, 21 minutes, 33 seconds, and then it was scrubbed out to 21 minutes, 19 seconds. The record got beaten since he wrote it, so that was an edit.
Bloody hell.
Wow, that is fast. 21 minutes, 19 seconds.
Took me a lot longer than that.
Which... equals the scores now. We're up to 5 apiece. There's 2 questions left, and I'm reading next. So you're answering first. Has Portal been completed faster than Carrion at 21 minutes 19 seconds?
Portal. Again, it's a Valve game, like Half-Life, proper PC game. So you can find your little exploits and your mods like that. I reckon there's someone who's found a way to literally make a portal to the end to speedrun Portal, and I think I hope that's the case anyway, because that'd be really funny. Go on, I'll go Portal quicker than 21 minutes is fucking
Carrion.
fast though.
It's fast.
Yeah, go on, I'll stay with it. Portal's faster than Carrion.
I'm going to follow you and say yes, purely for strategical reasons, because I think I know the answer to the last one.
You little bastard.
So I'm going to go with you on this one, so it's definitely going to be a draw, and then I'm... let's say...
yes.
Yes, 6 minutes 42. Oh my goodness.
6 fucking minutes. Oh my Christ.
Right. The last question, you're going to read it.
Has Super Mario 64 been completed faster than Portal?
Now, this is where I shouldn't have said, I think I know the answers to the last one, because you can just follow me and get a draw. Yeah, we're on 6 apiece now. I think Super Mario 64 is faster than 6 minutes 42. It's a wild out there guess. I'm probably wrong, Henry. You might want to guess something different to me, but I think it's faster than 6:42 because it's one of those games that people speedrun all the time. But at 6 minutes 42 though, Henry, you got to think, oh, that's really quick though, right?
But the thing is, I think Mario 64 as well, because it's such a staple of the speedrunning community. It's always coming back around, even though it's like 20 odd years old. People are always going back to it. People are always beating and then rebeating records. And I reckon because it's old, there's plenty of little like unpatched bugs and shit you can exploit, new shit people are discovering all the time. Yeah. And I'm going Super Mario 64. We're going the same. We might both be right or both be wrong, and then we'll rock, paper, scissors it. Yeah,
the answer is yes. 6 minutes and 36 seconds. I saw a video once, right, of someone speedrunning Mario 64, and there's an insane glitch that you can do, and you go out of bounds or whatever, and you basically get to the end within seconds on some of the levels, and it's like, well, if you can do that, then and I'm thinking psychologically wise, if Metashark is asking us about the lowest one yet, 642, the obvious answer is it's got to be more than 642. But to throw a curveball at the end, he puts an even shorter one at the very end. I thought, double whammy has to be right.
Good.
Yeah, I worked that one out. I think we got 7 each then, which is a decent score. You pulled it back.
It's a rock, paper, scissors.
How are we going to do this, man?
Thing. Lowest score has the quiz next week, and EA rules if it's a draw. Rock, paper, scissors. So we've got to rock, paper, scissors it now, and try.
So best of 3 or just best of 3 or just
yeah. Go on. Yeah, we'll do best of 3 and.
So how do we do it? Is it 1, 2, 3, and then do it, or
1, 2, 3, go?
Go. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
This is going to be so out of sync.
Let's
you count the first one, I'll count the second one, and then you count the third one.
Okay. 1.
I'll close my eyes.
Okay, I'll do it too. 1, 2, 3, go.
Can you see it? Is it even in the
camera? we both got paper.
There we go. Right.
So Although when I opened my eyes after saying go, I looked at you and I saw you make your shape.
Well, you've got seconds to respond.
Yeah. Okay, you do this, Sam.
3, 2, 1, go.
I think I win that one.
That's 1 point.
I think I win that one.
Thrilling content for people watching at home.
Yeah, I did scissors.
If you're listening.
I did scissors. Henry did paper that time, so I win. I won up. And the previous one was paper. Right? Let's do it again. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, yeah. I did a stone, a rock, and you did the paper. So it's 1-1. It's all on this last one, Henry. Let's do it.
Right. 3, 2, 1, go.
Yes!
There you go.
I did the rock. Henry flipped the V's, and I win. I am the winner.
Very good.
That was great. I enjoyed that.
That's right. It was my turn to take the quiz anyway. I'll take
the powers of the internet. That was the best rock, paper, scissors ever. Thanks to Metashark for, as always, for the awesome quiz, because we really enjoy that. It's one of the highlights of my week. So there. Let's move on to the next question. Do you want to read it?
Where are we? So I think we've jumped around a bit in the questions. There it is.
Yes.
So this is from Kingy, who I believe is this one of your first questions. I don't recognise your name, so welcome aboard. Now here we go. Now that I've sorted out this Patreon link, let's try this again. Henry, what's your take on Ghost of Tsushima adding lethal difficulty mode from their most recent update? And then there's another question, so we'll move on to that in a bit. Ghost of Tsushima's just added lethal mode, which makes all of the weapons of enemies way more lethal, but yours as well. So they're going to die faster and you're going to die faster, so it's kind of a bit more realistic rather than just being really difficult. I think it's excellent. That sounds great. More difficulty modes I'm always pretty much in favour for, and it's the kind of thing where I'd love to do it if I do like a New Game Plus run, and I'm hoping they will add a New Game Plus. And I feel like that's going to be... I mean, the game already is very... You kill people in a few hits once you break their guard and shit. So if it's lethal and you can kill them in one, that's really going to channel the samurai vibe that the game's already going for. So it's a no-brainer to me. Excuse me.
Absolutely.
And then the second question, and to both of you, which game do you think has the best radio music? Now, when I read this question before, I was like, this is such a bizarre question. And then I thought about it more based on what he's about to say. And I was like, you know what, it's actually kind of an interesting question.
No, it is a good question.
Do it. Personally, for me, I would say Mafia 3, because 60s music is awesome. Also would love to hear your take on the game. But Fallout 3 comes close second, as its radio music fits the atmosphere of the wasteland so well.
Yes. Do you have an answer for this?
I was racking my brain on this one, and then I read the next question, and the next question is my answer, which is Just Cause 4, because I'll bring in that question anyway. What is your favourite celebrity cameo in a video game? This is from Cloney, and he brings up David Tennant in Just Cause 3 and 4, because in Just Cause 4, the Just Cause game, you're in a dictatorship and you're just destabilising it, you're fighting the revolution. But on the radio is David Tennant, who is the radio host, but he kind of held at gunpoint. He's spouting their propaganda, and then throughout the game, he kind of starts leaning on your side. And he breaks the propaganda chain, and it's great. And David Tennant's excellent in everything. And he's one of those, linking to the next question about celebrity cameo, where it's like, that guy sounds really familiar. Who is that guy? And then it dawns on, he's like, Why is Stephen Tennant here? It's such a random place for him to show up, but it's a great little thing, and that's definitely the best radio, I think.
I think he nailed it. Mafia 3, I've said this since I've played it, but the soundtrack for that is amazing, right? You've got the band, who obviously the song The Weight is on that. You've got Beach Boys songs, 3 Beach Boys songs. I'm just looking at them here. You've got 2 Johnny Cash songs. These are the ones that stick out to me, right? You've got Son of a Preacher Man. You've got Marvin Gaye, Jimi Hendrix, All Along the Watchtower. It's just immense. Like, I mean, obviously, I'm a fan of the 60s music too, but you can't beat this music. You cannot. I don't care. I do not care. Roy Orbison, Ramones, Otis Redding. There's just Rolling Stones. There's 4 Rolling Stones songs. It's just Dusty Springfield said that. Status Quo, Supremes, loads. It's just the best, hands down.
I wouldn't count it as radio because it's literally not. But in-game music while you're traveling, I want to give an honourable mention to Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, because when you're sailing on your ship, they'll sing sea shanties. I remember really enjoying those, and I think it's really good, much like the 60s music. Like, it totally fits with that atmosphere and vibe. So I thought that was really cool. Just as a little honourable mention.
Cool. So the favourite cameo in a video game. I'm going to jump first here. I think the oh god, I had his name in my head and it's gone. Ron Perlman in the Fallout series. I think that's just awesome. I'm a big fan of Ron Perlman. War never changes. I just love it.
I really don't know. I mean, an easy game to go for is Death Stranding, because fucking everyone's in
that. Yeah. Pick your celebrity.
Well, I do really like Mads Mikkelsen in it, because he's one of those actors where any scene he's in, he just dominates.
Is that a cameo though? If he's one of the main characters?
Well, yeah. So I don't know if you can really class it as a cameo. I don't have a better answer, I'm afraid. The David Tennant one is really good.
Yeah,
really
let's
good
say
choice.
it is a cameo, and we'll just go with your answer.
Just bend the rules a little bit. All right, what's next? Robbo? Great pod as always, lads. I assume this comes from the last podcast, because you have no idea if this is any good yet, as we're in the middle of recording it, but you're obviously right. It's obviously really good. Quick question for next week. Being mostly a console-based player, I get envious by the abundance of RTS games the PC has. I would love to see console supported with more RTS games like in the late 90s. Example, Command & Conquer on PS1. With the remasters of Command & Conquer on PC, what do you think are the barriers to stopping this release on console, other than the obvious, it works best with mouse and keyboard? Cheers, Dave. Kiss, kiss. I love that. So it's cheers, Dave.
Cheers,
I'm a man's man, I'm a bloke. And then kiss, kiss.
Kiss, kiss, yeah.
It's sweet. I very much feel the same, being a console scrub myself. RTS games, I just have an abundance on PC, and there's very few that make the jump.
I think it has to do with the control scheme and getting a control scheme that feels intuitive, and that's one of the main problems. Yeah, you've got your wheel menus now, which kind of helps a lot. And I think player bases are more on consoles. They're more
casual.
Yeah, and they just want the
AAA,
better looking games, and the games where you sit and think and strategize and things like that, they probably won't do as well. That's a general assumption. It doesn't mean that there's no fans like yourself and like Robbo or Dave here. I think that there are the fans out there. It's just that the appeal for developers to tap into a smaller player base on a consoles maybe isn't there, because they might not see the reward from all the hard effort porting a game to the console. That's my thoughts.
Yeah, it is a shame, and I would love to see more, but we'll just got to wait and see.
I mean, it might be a system resources thing. It might be that come PlayStation 5 and the next generation, you might find that more strategy games are coming to the platform, because they can, because the systems are faster now. Maybe that's what it is. But I always find that just playing an action game sometimes on a controller is really difficult. So obviously mouse and keyboard is the obvious place, or the obvious way to play a strategy game. But I'm sure they can get around. It just takes some inventive thinking in terms of how to control you know, good control scheme for a game like that. But I don't know. It's down to the developers. Don't ask us. What do we know? We're just a.
Oh, Jesus. Don't.
I might have to edit that bit out.
Listening. Jesus.
Yeah, that was my fire alarm. It's not even. Oh yeah, it is. It's in that. Yeah, for some reason.
That was so loud. I thought it happened in my house.
I'm definitely gonna have to mute that out. For those of you wondering what's just happened, my fire alarm went off, and if one goes off in one room,
I can't fucking hear you anymore.
If one goes off in one room, the whole house goes off because they're all like Bluetooth together. So yeah, I'm having some work done in the house, and obviously someone's set one off cleverly just while I'm filming, which is great. Anyway, let's move on to the next question. I'll read this one, and the next one from Day Off regarding interviews. If you guys want some ideas, some of the gamer channels I've watched with any regularity include Civic, Game Maker's Toolkit, which is an awesome channel, Nerd Slayer, and Strat Edgy, whom I am given through Patreon because his delivery perspectives and non-game content are top-notch. I've also enjoyed, although not sub to, Architect of Games and Alpharad, and I see them in recommended. More commentary/content creation than use channels like Yongye. I think they'd make some great, potentially good interviews, and I'm sure other patrons have other great channels to share. But there's a question/exercise for you. Blend up to 3 games together, taking one particular aspect of each to create your dream game. I'd love to see a combination of Breath of the Wild's open world and exploration, Elder Scrolls series dungeon delving RPG gameplay, and Mountain Blade sandbox. Such a game may very well be the last game I would ever play. Any ideas on your end? I'm just going to say, Day Off, I want that game that you've just said, and I was already thinking sandbox. I was already thinking Elder Scrolls or a dungeon delving RPG. And yeah, Breath of the Wild open world. I will take your answer as my answer if I could. I would definitely play that. And yes, it would be probably the last game I ever played.
For me, I mean that's already pretty awesome. But I think if we're going like feature specific is when I'm trying to make it a bit more complicated than just Star Wars open world game, but I feel like that's probably just what I really want. I think Breath of the Wild has a really good sense of adventure and discovery, and I think that's really good about the open world. But I think Red Dead 2 has a better open world in terms of like immersive, emergent moments and like random little fun side questy shit. So take that quest design and open world design. Elder Scrolls RPG stuff is absolutely spot on, but specifically I want the progression. You do more stuff with two-handed weapons, you get better at two-handed weapons. Do more stuff with archery, you get better at archery. And stick it with some like Star Wars-y thing to get me my ultimate Star Wars game. Like, I mean, Jedi Fallen Order had pretty good saber combat, but ever since playing Ghost of Tsushima, I'm like, why wasn't Jedi Fallen Order this? It's just better. I feel like more of what it should be. I'm a simple man with very complicated taste. All I want is a full-scale Star Wars open world RPG where I can travel to a bunch of different planets and be a badass Jedi or some like rogue bounty hunter. Is that so much to ask?
It's not.
You lazy developers.
You lazy bastards. Yeah, thanks for the question, Mr. Dayoth. Let's move on. We've got 2 questions remaining. Kona is the next one. Do you want to read it?
Yeah, here we go. Hi there. Have you had any more use of the gifted VR device which our dear community member Metashark gave you guys a while back? In brackets, at least I remember something like this happened. Have you picked it up for time to time, or has it just been a dust collector for the time being? So it currently sits in my house. It's there. It's in a little carry case. My problem is I don't have enough like good space to do it regularly. I always want to do it. I keep thinking, I could really go for some Beat Saber now, but I never get around to it. But I think my main thing is it's workable in the space I have, but I feel like I can't like really cut loose, you know? I don't, because I've got enough arm space, but drawing the barrier, I have to exceed what I can like reach with my feet. So like if there's the sofa, obviously I can reach over the sofa, but the bottom of it is near where my feet is, if that makes any sense. So I'm a little bit more restricted than I would like.
Yeah. Well, you've had that one for some time. I bought my kids a couple for Christmas. I'm pretty sure that it's the same account that's logged into both of them. And I bought them a bunch of games. There's a Star Wars one. There's a Star Wars game. You want to check it out? I've bought a bunch of games. I love the VR. My kids love the VR. I played a lot of Beat Saber. I played a lot of poker as well. Just Poker Stars, online poker, just not for proper money, just having that experience of being in a casino, just throwing poker chips around is really fun. But I would, if you're interested in checking out, what was that Star Wars VR game? You want your Star Wars experience?
The Vader one.
Yeah.
I think it's just called Vader VR or something, right?
Yeah, made Vader Immortal. It is. I definitely bought that and a bunch of others. Which the kids haven't really played a lot of, but there's some decent games on there. But yeah, big fan of VR. But like I said, it's a commitment to have a session. You've got to commit your space. You got to commit your eyes, your ears. You got to commit everything. You got to be all in, to use the poker terminology there.
And it's not the kind of thing you do for hours. You just dip in and out.
Yeah, that's true. So next up, Tommy T would like to ask. Is it my? I'll read this.
Yeah.
Hello.
The last one.
Would you like to see a Fallout New Vegas remaster if everything was kept the same, just updated graphics? Thanks and loving the quality content. Heart triggered. Oh, I'm not going to read the title of the next segment. But, I mean, this question answers itself, Tommy. Of course, we want a Fallout New Vegas remaster. Of course, I feel like a lot of these questions were teed up for me this week. Like a lot of them are like in line with how I feel. Absolutely. I'll take a Fallout New Vegas master today, tomorrow. I'd be playing it. I'd be playing it right now if that was. And I couldn't say that about many games. Absolutely. You never played Vegas, did you?
It's because I don't really care about Fallout. Like this never grabs me. Maybe if I played New Vegas, it would be the one.
Maybe if you played the best one,
engage me.
Play the shit ones to say you don't like them. What's that going to get you?
Well, I played 3. I didn't play all of 3.
That 3 is good. 3 is good.
And then I played 4, a little bit of that, and I just couldn't get through more than like 4 or 5 hours without. It just didn't grab me. That's it. And it's because it's one of those games that is so big, so you've got to commit a lot of time. I'm like, I'm not that engaged right now. I'm not willing to engage myself for another 100 more hours. And I know they're meant to be really good, but out of all the games in the world, I'm willing to miss out on Fallout. I can take that hit.
And Fallout 3 needs a remaster too, because that is one of the best, if not my favorite Fallout game. That and New Vegas, they're both smashing. I would take both of them. Amazing games. But thanks for your questions, everybody, this week. And if you want to leave a question for next week's podcast, head over to the Patreon Discord and go to the podcast questions channel and drop it there, and we will pick it up and ask it out in next week's podcast. And if you want to become a supporter and get access to the Discord, although there are a couple of channels free, link in the description of this video if you want to get to the public area of the Discord. If you want private or Patreon Discord membership, patreon.com/prettygoodgaming. Like I said, early access to the podcast for 2 days, early access every week, and you get to ask us questions. It's the best value deal anywhere on the internet, guaranteed. And with that said, it's time to move on to our next segment, which is the Triggered Fanboy Comment of the Week. I've got an interesting one this week, and this Triggered Fanboy is in. I knew I'd get one because I titled last week's podcast "The Amazing Xbox Showcase." I knew I'd trigger someone.
When I saw that, I was like, I don't even believe this.
Well,
you think it was awesome?
I didn't say it's the awesome. Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, I said it was awesome. But I kind of thought it was. So what? I've got an opinion, and I triggered some people. Least of which expected was Anthony Capozzo, who's he's a fan of the channel, right? And
regular commenter.
Regular commenter, Wisconsin. He always signs off with that.
Wisconsin, yeah.
And I was very surprised. I was almost hurt with his comments here. But here's the Triggered Fanboy comment of the week. I'm gonna read it out.
He's a fanboy of us, which I think is...
bear this in mind.
Qualify.
But this one hurt me personally, right? Jesus, Christopher. Evans can't be excited for CG trailers Evans can be excited for CG trailers all he wants, but he should know better than to be satisfied with that. CG trailers mean nothing. It's a concept which usually doesn't resemble what the game will look like at all. It's equivalent to showing just the name of a game coming in 5 years. State of Decay was a buggy mess. Halo was shit, and Fable will have MMO elements. Just give the channel to Henry Giant Nuts Cooper. He has realistic expectations, especially with next generation. Wow. I've never been hurt so much by a TrIgGeReD fanboy, right?
I'm not
I can take the name calling, but saying I should give the channel over to Henry because I've got a bad opinion, that hurts, man. That hurts. Man, it's never gone so low. You can call me what you want, but it's suggesting that I'm no longer worthy of running this channel. Wow, that's deep, man. That cut me deep.
I think my favorite thing about it is that there's this air of, you can be better than this. It's almost, I'm not angry, I'm disappointed. It's not TrIgGeReD fanboy. Yeah. It's the I'm not angry, I'm disappointed fanboy. It's like, you should know that these CG trailers are bullshit. You shouldn't let yourself get excited by it because I'm sorry. You know that it's wrong.
In my defense, and as a rebuttal, I never said anything about CG trailers being great. I've gone on record as saying that CG trailers are fine for when a game gets announced. I think that is fine, okay? If the second trailer doesn't show us any gameplay, that's when you're in trouble in my eyes. To reveal a game with a CG trailer, Henry's slightly different-minded. He gets a little bit more upset with just CG. Whereas if you're announcing something, you can announce it in a headline in an article or in an interview. Like, what good is that? Give us an image. Give us a logo. Give us something to associate in our minds with what this game is going to be. I don't mind that at all. I know CG trailers are bullshit, but if you're announcing a game, it's different in my eyes. And that's why I say, I never once said that these CG trailers are ace. I never said these games are going to be ace. I said that I'm excited to see what that comes out of these games. State of Decay, it's a personal preference. It was one of the best 7 out of 10 games I've ever played, along with Vampire. State of Decay 2, great, right? And I'm not the only one who says that. Yes, it's a buggy mess, but you've got to look past the bugs. If you're having fun with the game, what does that matter? It doesn't look great. What does that matter? If it gives you fun, what does that matter? That's what matters, the fun. State of Decay, I had fun. Why would you hold that against me, Anthony Capozzo? So yes, I'm excited for State of Decay 3 because I know what to expect. And hopefully it's going to be a version of what I've already played. And with the Avowed, it's an Obsidian game. Obsidian, one of my favourite developers, literally made Fallout New Vegas. Obsidian made my favourite game ever, and they're making another RPG, kind of like Skyrim, because they're going on a trend of ripping off Bethesda games now, and I'm not supposed to be excited about that? Come on, Anthony Capozzo, you can do better than that. You know me better than that. And I'm not giving the channel over.
The bozo.
Anthony the bozo.
I love that name though, because it sounds like proper Italian American.
Mafia. Oh yeah, proper mafia.
Yeah, I dig it.
Anthony Capozzo. That's why I said it like that.
Yeah. I mean, my stance on CG trailers, I don't like them. I mean, I can find them entertaining. I've said before, the ones for, what is it, Elder Scrolls Online, where they're like dramatic action moves, they're entertaining, but they're shit as a trailer. They're a good little short film that I enjoy watching, and there's like half an hour's worth now, so I'll sometimes go have a look watch them if I want a bit of entertainment, but they're a bad trailer in terms of what I think a trailer should be, so I can't be dealing with that. Get the fuck out of here. I hate trailers with just a logo. It's a complete waste of everyone's time. Just make a statement or a Twitter announcement. The Elder Scrolls 6 is the one that offends me the most.
Yeah, because there's nothing to that.
Fables 1 was shit, but at least it had some tone to it, and it had a sort of a narrative. The Elder Scrolls 6, everyone was like, oh my god, Elder Scrolls 6, and then I was like, oh cool, let's have a look. What the fuck is this? It's a swooping landscape shot, and then a logo.
Doesn't give you a taste at all of what the game's going to be like. Whereas Avowed did give you a bit of a taste.
All we've heard of that game. It's all we've heard.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that one. But like I said, this one cut deep. And I'm just coming to terms with it now. I'm just dealing with the hurt that this comment caused. But I think I'm over it.
Everybody hurts.
I think I'm over it. Yeah, that song's been in my head last
Crying
since I
in the
read
shower,
this.
you know.
Absolutely. So let's move on now to other YouTube comments from this week. And do you have any to hand, Henry?
Yeah, I've got a couple good to go. So there's one here by Brandon Thomas, and this is from video, I think it was Friday, last week Friday, about Cyberpunk beta being a scam because it is a scam. It's not real.
Yeah.
Splinter Cell getting an animated series, and Metal Gear Solid 5 online thing doing the meta game. They completed the meta game, which is really cool. And I remember saying something like, "Oh, it's cool to see them doing an online mode like this, which is great. That isn't just full of your mama jokes and people in being racist or some shit." But then I says, "But everyone loves a good your mama joke now and then." And I think that was like the very last thing of that segment before the outro. And this person, part of the reason I like it is because they've clearly watched all the way to the very, very end, and then chosen to engage. So this is the perfect kind of viewer, because they watch it all, get the watch time up, and they comment. So this Brandon Thomas has said, "You know who doesn't love a good your mother joke? Your mama. I've only seen her laugh once in my life. That's when she had you."
That's perfect.
Gave me a tickle, which I thought was really
good.
funny.
Excellent.
Have you got any comments good to go? Because I could read off another one.
I've got JJ Walker from the PlayStation one, the Spider-Man story about going exclusive to PlayStation on the Avengers game. JJ Walker says, "Fuck PlayStation. I'm still going to buy one, but fuck PlayStation." It's kind of like how I feel, right? It kind of sums it up nicely there.
Fuck them, but what it comes down to: do I want to have fun more than I want to like protest this thing? And I think there's nothing wrong with that. Well, maybe you've got to be aware. I think as long as you're aware of it, you're aware of your hypocrisy. I think you can kind of roll with it. Yeah, PlayStation sucks. They do some shitty shit, but it doesn't mean you can't enjoy some of the good stuff they do. So I've got another comment here from a name which I cannot really read. This is, I think it's on the podcast. Yeah, last week's podcast. Tor Ivar Satanes. Tor Ivar Satanes. And this is quoting me. "Ghost is not taking Game of the Year from Doom." Then he comments, "Well, as I see it, Cyberpunk 2077 will probably beat both of them." Now, I think this is such an interesting thing. It's not this comment specifically, but so many people on any Twitter thread when they're like, "Oh, Last of Us 2's Game of the Year," and then like, "Oh, hello, Cyberpunk," and it's just because there's so much of it. There's so many people like this. I'm like, game's not fucking out yet, man. And I've even said before that game's probably going to take Game of the Year, assuming everything's going in line. But people have said it's already my Game of the Year. You haven't played it, mate. What are you on about? Again, it's not this person. This person highlights a good point, which, yeah, Cyberpunk could certainly take the Game of the Year away from Doom. And he even says probably, so he's not doubling down. But so many people are like, it's definitely getting game. Eat shit, man. Just wait till you fucking play the game. This is where hype gets out of control for already the most overhyped, well, potentially overhyped Game of the Year. That's what it is. Even if it's not Game of the Year, it's overhyped Game of the Year.
Yeah. So next comment I've got here. So I'm scrambling for comments here because my phone packed in on me this week. So all the comments that I was saving up have been lost to the ether. So I'm scrambling here. Another Spider-Man one, right? Major glitch on the Spider-Man story. Must be a slow news day. Apparently everyone thinks that this is the first time exclusive. Oh, did you read this one out earlier?
That was a comment within a comment. What I read out earlier, it wasn't like an actual comment. It was a reply.
Apparently, everyone thinks that this is the first time exclusive content has been a thing, or that Sony is the only one to do it. This really feels like one of those moments where people are just looking for anything to be mad about. I think we've gone through that.
Yeah, it's not the same thing. Sony didn't pay for it to be made, but they're paying to keep it, and they're keeping it from everybody else. I think Jim Sterling did a video on it, and he made a point about switching perspectives on it, which I think is an interesting kind of way of looking at it. It's not Spider-Man is exclusive to PlayStation. It's Spider-Man is excluded from Xbox and PC, because it's the same thing. You're totally right. That's the way the marketing Sony brand thing will be like, it's exclusive to us. You can only get it here. But then from the other side, we'll be like, no, it's excluded from us. You've just taken it away.
Yeah. Just on that same note, this is the only other comment I've got on this topic, so I might as well read it now. Drew and Charlie comments, everyone keeps talking about how it's really PlayStation 5 versus Xbox Game Pass, and I hate to break it to you, but the last 3 good exclusives I played on Game Pass were Stranded Deep, Ori, and Subnautica. Games like Carrion are the only thing that Xbox has to offer, and Halo Infinite will suck, mark my words. There's no console war. PlayStation won 4 years ago, and the battle is now over. There's so much to unpack in this comment.
I had that one, but I think I lost it. That was one of the ones I was looking for earlier when I was scrolling.
Oh, right. What have you got to say on that?
So I don't have it in front of me, but like him saying the console war is over, PlayStation versus Game Pass. That is right? The console war is almost over because it's not over yet because the community is what's keeping it alive. It doesn't seem like Xbox doesn't seem to care anymore. They've completely pivoted their business model away from selling Xbox Series X's and towards selling their services and then their games. So they want Game Pass is going to be their main thing. So you're right in saying it's going to be PS5 versus Game Pass, but the console war's still alive because people keep fucking screaming at each other about it. Look at the Spider-Man situation. That's been emblematic of the console war, mainly from the Sony fanboys who are like, oh, fuck you, Xbox, yeah, you're a little shitty console, you're not getting this. They're the people keeping it alive. I don't think Xbox really give a shit anymore because they're busy doing their own thing because they lost it. The war's not over yet, but they're losing it, so they're choosing to try a different strategy.
Well, yeah, exactly, and I think that long term, the subscription revenue model is always going to win over over just just the way that PlayStation and everyone's always done it with like just regular sales. I think that it's a good strategy that Xbox are taking, and I completely disagree with the fact that the only thing games like Carrion are the only thing Xbox has to offer. That's nonsense, right? I've already talked about State of Decay, which is a Microsoft-owned studio making that. There's also Hellblade now because they bought Ninja Theory. They've got Obsidian, which obviously Avowed. So no matter where I play, I probably play them on PC anyway. But Microsoft have got a lot to offer outside of just the Xbox console, and I think that's what people are missing these days. It's like Microsoft. If you want to say the war is over, PlayStation win, and Microsoft die, that would be a huge loss for a lot of people in the games industry. So let's not get partisan about this. It's a huge win for everyone that these two companies still exist and still compete in a way. Yeah. There's no console war. PlayStation won 4 years ago and the battle's now over. That's completely wrong, because you will find that in a few years, once Microsoft bought a bunch of game studios in the last few years. They've got Compulsion Games, In Exile, The Initiative, they've got Mojang, obviously, Undead Labs, Rare, Xbox Game Studios, 343, Double Fine, Playground Games, World's Edge, Obsidian, and we mentioned before Ninja Theory and them, the Coalition. They've got loads now, and they're just what they're doing. They're paving the way for the next generation, and when they're going to have a lot more to offer. They've had a bad season, right? They've had an off season. They haven't scored as many goals as they. Yeah, but
the war still rages on.
Exactly. They've put in preparations in place in order to come back really strongly, and I expect big things from Xbox and Microsoft in the coming years, that's for sure.
I think the war's going to be different though, because like I said about community stuff, because PlayStation, they're cultivating their consumer base around the PlayStation brand. We've got all these exclusives, including Spider-Man and Avengers and all that shit. But then the Microsoft team, that's going to be spread. Instead of just being the Xbox team, it's also going to have the PC team, and then the Game Pass team, and then what's the streaming thing called? xCloud, and all that. They're diversifying, which is it's a unique approach, which I think is probably going to do them well. They're still probably not going to have the same level of exclusives as Sony do, because Sony's doubling down on doing that same sort of thing. But they're going to still make a shit ton of money. Microsoft is a bigger company than Sony is in terms of how much they earn by quite a lot. So Microsoft, they're not going anywhere. They're not losing. You can say Xbox is losing, but it's not. It's gaining more allies with PC and all that shit. They're diversifying.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
so I've got one more comment here that I think is funny. Unfortunately, the replies to it aren't loading on my computer because it's struggling in the heat. But this is on a video from the 3rd, which is, I think, Monday, maybe, about Anthem's loot changes. And BioWare came out and they put up a little blog post saying, well, we're going to do this and this. And it's the first thing they've said in a while. This person, Bugged Life Mechanics, said, Anthem, it's not dead yet. What I like about that is I commented back to it, like now I can't see replies. I commented back saying, yeah, I was literally going to put that as the title, but I'm pretty sure the last time I did anything Anthem related, it was pretty much the same. I said, oh, Anthem's not dead yet. I think the last time I put Anthem Next is still coming. Apparently, I've been like really sarcastic things. So I was like, oh, well, maybe I won't put it's not dead yet. But yeah, apparently Anthem is still a thing. There's a couple people saying, oh, stop talking about Anthem, just let it die. But it's like, well, no, I don't want to see any game die. I want to see them get better. Same with EA. I've said it before. I don't want EA to just stop existing. I want them to take what they do and just do it better because they've got loads of money. They can pump all that money into some really, really, really good products, but they don't. So if you kill them, there's no chance of that. But if you keep them alive, there's a hope, a very, very small hope, a little tiny ember, but a hope that they can do something good. Yeah. And I hope that for Anthem.
Yeah, exactly, because there's still people playing it. There's still a community there and holding on. People have forked out for it. People have paid money for it, so they want a decent game.
Yeah,
they're clawing out the possibility of the hope that that is going to come good in the end. And I think that's just about it for comments. And unless you've got any pressing ones to do,
no, I think I'm done.
Okay, let's move on to the bad dad joke of the week. Right, honey, I'm going to the tin, so it's hit or miss.
I'll brace myself for some proper trash.
Okay, I'm just thinking how to read this. So, Henry, can February March?
I don't know. Can February March?
No, but April May. February, March, April, May. Get it?
Oh, I get it. I'm just not laughing.
You obviously don't get it then, do you, Henry?
I'm not having that one. I'm not having that.
You don't like that one? Oh, God. No. You used to laugh at my jokes, Henry. You used to laugh at my jokes. I think
it's because we've had a few good ones recently from the Patreon page. And going back to the tin, it's going back
it's a step down,
to
isn't it?
Trash.
Okay, today I saw a dwarf climbing down a prison wall. I thought to myself, that's a little condescending.
See, that's funny.
There you go. That's it. That's my reprieve today. That's my that's getting you back on board. You actually laughed at that one. So that is it for this podcast. Thanks everybody for joining and supporting and listening to us talk for so long. If you do enjoy us talking, why not think about supporting us talking over on patreon.com/prettygoodgaming? Because without support from the Patreon community, we wouldn't be able to talk anymore and you wouldn't be able to listen. We wouldn't be able to talk, you wouldn't be able to listen. I hope I said that. So yeah, please do consider supporting us if you're a fan of our work and you want to see us prosper and continue, because without you, we can't. You'll get early access to the podcast. You get access to our Discord, or the Patreon-only section of Discord, and you get to ask us questions every single week. And we will also be eternally grateful to you. So yeah, add that in for another benefit. And that will do it for this week. And we will see you again, I guess, in the podcast next week, 74 next week. And on behalf of Henry and myself, we will see you then. Until then, bye for now.